Hey there, everybody. It is Jessica Collins from Forest Bathing Central here with you today. And I've had a few subjects in mind, just some thoughts, some things about forest bathing and just forest and nature in general that have been like on my mind really strongly lately. So I thought I'd hop on, talk about a few of them. So I'm going to have this video dedicated to one subject. I'm probably going to pop on and do another one. I'll be wearing the same outfit in the next video. That's why, because I've just been, these thoughts have been strong and I wanted to explore them in video, sort of talk to you guys about them, see what your thoughts are, that kind of thing. So today we're going to talk about making the forest feel like home, which sort of sounds kind of silly, right? But I've noticed that a lot of people feel like the forest is maybe unsafe. It's somewhere they really don't want to be. Or maybe they feel out of place or reluctant to go there. And so this is really going to help you if you feel any of those. Just that reluctance to go into the forest. This is going to help you make the forest feel like home. And speaking of home, I am coming to you from my backyard, nature, trees, from my own home. All right, so let's talk about making the forest feel like home. So it's really somewhere that you feel safe, that you want to go to, that you feel solace, to make you feel connected with the forest, to make you feel drawn to the forest. So I think a lot about our first home as a family. When my husband and I got married, our first home, or house, I should say, right? And what it took to make it feel like home, because that place didn't feel like home at first. You go from living at home your whole life. I happened to live at my grandparents' home for a couple years, starting like when I was in high school, all the way through college and a little bit after. I lived in the dorms for a little while. Like, I didn't have my own place. And of course, home is always like your childhood home. That's what you think of, right? When you think of home, like even people who are 40s, 50s, you talk about home, you talk about going home, and it's always your childhood home, right? So when you make your own home, it's not the same when you first move in. It's just not. And it takes a while for it to feel like home, especially if it's somewhere that you're not completely settled or isn't really maybe your dream home. Let me just fast forward a little bit in the home I'm at now. And when we moved in here, it felt like home immediately. And it did not in our last home. It didn't feel like home for a while. So then I started to think about the forest and how that feels too, the same way, where it doesn't feel like home right away, always, for everyone. You don't feel connected right away. For many of you, it probably did. It was easy. It's where you grew up, being in nature, same thing. Your childhood home is what you call home. Your childhood memories of being in nature makes it easier for you to be at home in nature. So anyway, we're going to talk about all the ways that we make a house feel like a home that apply to the forest, making the forest feel like home so you feel connected. I'm going to go over like 6 different things, the biggest factors that make a house a home. And let me just read off my notes here. They're familiarity, memories, your closest humans, family and friends, the place where you find solace, taking meals, and making it your own. So let's start with the first one, familiarity. So obviously a home is the place where you spend your most time. It is the place where you are most familiar. You know all the nooks and crannies. You know where things are most of the time, unless your kids move them. It's the place you return to again and again. It's the place where you live. It's the place where you spend the most time. So let's talk about the forest in that context. So to make the forest feel like home, you need to return there again and again. you build that familiarity by returning over and over until you know the pathways by heart, you know little features of the forest by heart, you know the nooks and crannies, right? So building that familiarity is really going to help you feel like you know the place, like you belong there, right? So I recommend, obviously with your sit spot, you should have a sit spot in all your favorite places, right? Your favorite forests. But if you're really disconnected with a place, I would really recommend finding a sit spot and memorizing details, becoming familiar with the place. Learn as much as you can about what's in your surroundings. What are these flowers? So I've got chicory and I've got some Queen Anne's lace, and just learning about the parts that are around you, make them feel more familiar, make them learning about all those plants and the trees and everything just makes them feel more familiar, and more friendly. It doesn't feel so scary or out of place. Learn as much as you can. Just become like your own naturalist. Just learn, bring books or an app, and learn as much as you can about the place so it becomes familiar. And you know how like in your house, where like all the little water spots on the ceiling are, or where there's like maybe a dent in the wall. Just settle in to your sit spot and learn the place and memorize all the details, and that will build your familiarity with the place and help you feel more settled in, help you feel more at home there. Okay, and the second factor to make a place feel like home is making memories there. So, right, like in your own home, you have memories, you have your fingerprints all over the walls, figuratively and literally, right? So all your memories are built there. That's why the place becomes so endearing to you. It's because of all the memories you've built there. So let's talk about the forest in that same way. Build memories there. So bring your invitations. So invitations help with this for sure, and journaling about it. So you will have some poignant moments out in the forest, and those are helping you build memories. You can also bring people with you and make memories like you're never gonna forget if you bring a group of people or your children forest bathing. Those are memories that are gonna stick with you and that will help build those memories that make the forest feel like home. So, which brings us to the next point, which is your closest humans, right? So the people that you invite most into your home are your closest family and friends, right? So normally you don't invite strangers. I mean, maybe you do, and that's awesome. But mostly the people that visit your home are your closest loved ones, right? And that helps with that home feeling. That's your safe place. That's where you spend time with the people that you love. And so in the forest, I would encourage you to do the same. Bring the people that you love. Share with them something that's your favorite. Share with them your love of nature. And that's going to help it feel just more endeared to you. And the next point is solace. Where do you go when you feel sad? When you feel like you need rest? When you feel like you need comfort? I don't know about you, but my home is the place where I get all of that, right? Maybe even my room, which your sit spot is basically like the equivalent of your room, a place where you seek solace. So, again, I recommend, if you're feeling sad about something, if you're feeling worried or concerned or frustrated, just head out to the forest instead of somewhere else and seek solace there. So sit spot is a great place to cry it out. It's a great place to find the friendliness of nature and wrap it around you. And that's really going to make it feel like the place that you want to retreat to when you need that comfort. All right, the next point I want to make is home is where you take your meals, right? Maybe you don't take most of your meals there if you work outside the home, or if you're gone a lot, or you enjoy food out at restaurants or something like that. But or during times of quarantine or something, you are home taking most of your meals there. And a lot of our memories and our deepest relationships, think about it, around the kitchen table, right? And meals can be a huge builder of those memories, that familiarity, all of it together. So in the forest, I recommend taking meals once in a while. So bring a picnic lunch or something, or make a big spread and make it into like a real big, make it into an event, make it into something special. And that's gonna make the forest feel familiar, feel like home, feel like somewhere where you would retreat for meals. All right, and the last point I want to make is making the forest your own. So obviously you can't go out into the forest and like knock down walls, knock down trees. You don't want to do that. Try to leave no trace as much as possible, but you can make it your own. You can use it in a way that you would use your own home, where you make it your own, you decorate. So without destroying or without interfering with any natural processes, how about you have like a little divot where you set your mug, a little branch where you hang your jacket, bring a pillow to sit on or something that's really comfortable. We got a little visitor, a little kitty visitor. Come here, kitty. This is Cupcake. Say hi, kitty. In order for the forest to feel like your home, it should carry your footprint a little bit, right? Like, don't leave traces, but in a figurative sense, leave your footprint, right? So in that way, just make it your own. Make it your own space. Don't leave anything, don't destroy anything, but make it feel like it's, or find parts of it that really resonate with you and draw you in. And that's how you make the place your own. So that's it for today. If you think of anything else, that, you know, ways that you've made a house feel like a home that could apply to the forest, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, because I think it's really important to have that in order to even have that sort of connection with nature, you need to have familiarity with the place, and it has to be comfortable to you. It has to draw you in. And these are all ways to do that. So if you're interested in forest bathing and you really don't like the forest, I hope that these will help you. Also, you don't have to go into a scary forest. I know that my kids sometimes, like if we're in the forest at dusk, they get a little frightened, a little scared, like who's gonna jump out at us or something. So just find a park or just a patch of trees in your own backyard and just start to build that familiarity. And I hope that over time it starts to feel like home to you, and it brings you the joy and the peace that it can offer. So in the comments below, I'm gonna drop you a freebie that I have on Forest Bathing Central. It gives you 3 invitations to try out in the forest and a little starter guide on how to forest bathe. So if you haven't tried it yet, I hope that you'll give it a try. Those invitations really help you draw you into the forest, and they do help with making it feel like home, that familiarity factor, that safeness and comfort factor. So grab those if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.